This is Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way. Hey, I'm your host, Chad Bumgarner, and Our Voice 360 is a podcast from our perspective, providing inspiration, business and leadership tips, Black history knowledge, sports, current news events, and self-help insight, along with other information to keep you in the know while you're on the go. Today, we'll kick off the show with a little motivation and inspiration from none other than Mike Brown. Right after that, we'll get some great business and leadership tips and insight from the leadership coach himself, me, Chad Bumgarner. Then we'll switch gears a bit and get educated on who we are when Mike Brown comes back to us with some Black history pearls of knowledge of self. Next up, we'll get our sports commentary and updates with our sports guru, Pete Hunt. Following Pete will be the brilliant and talented news reporter, Fentress Chestnut Fountain, with our current news events information. And rounding out the show will be our main man, Ivan Hunt, with his very own segment, Keep It Moving, showing us how to overcome any obstacles we face in order to gain success in life. Okay, are you ready? Let's go!
Hello everyone, welcome back to Our Voice 360. It's your man, Michael Brown. And listen, each and every one of us was born with a gift, a different gift. We're like snowflakes. Each and every one of us is different. There are none of us that are the same. But you have to remember that that gift that you have, that was God's gift to you. Now, what you choose to do with that gift is your gift back to God. Okay? Always understand that when you find your passion in life, you find your purpose. So in everything that you do, you must always remember to stay humble and stay prayed up. All right? I'm out. Peace.
You're listening to the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives from our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. Hey everyone, this is Chad Bumgarner with another edition of The Intentional Leader. Is cultural diversity the key to a company's success? As many marketers and corporate leaders know, diversity and inclusion has been one of the hottest topics over the last year. Whether discussing the total market approach for marketers or diversity and inclusion for corporate leaders, everyone's buzzing about what's the right approach. When we look at today's common definition of diversity hiring, it's defined as hiring based on merit with special care taken to ensure procedures are free from biases related to a candidate's age, race, gender, religion, and sexual orientation. Now, as leaders, we need to dig a bit deeper and look at how cultural and ethnic diversity contributes to a company's innovation and growth. Now, culture, ethnicity, and language also play a great role in driving business growth, thought, and innovation. Now, what can one U.S. Army veteran, one person from Poland, one person from France, and another person from Australia add to the traditional diversity and inclusion recruitment standards and to a team? Could it mean even greater strength and true adversity? Albeit, those from Eastern and Western Europe, along with Australia, could be white. They are also contributors and represent the diversity of culture, ethnicity, and thought of the globalized world that we live in. Let's even do a comparison among Hispanics and Latinos living in North America. Many corporations and marketers fail to even realize the cultural and language diversity that exists within this segment alone. Now, within the Hispanic and Latino communities, there are diverse cultures, and let us not forget different languages. The thought process for a Portuguese-speaking Brazilian may be much different than that of a Spanish-speaking Cuban. No different than how someone from Poland will have a different business or creative approach than his or her French counterpart. Yet, both are European. So, why should we expand our view on diversity and inclusion? Well, it's very simple. When done right, it can expand the success of a company and benefit the culture of a company in many ways. Now, when done properly, it can eliminate prejudices through the exposure of diverse cultures, religions, ethnicities, sexual preferences, and genders, thus creating stronger teams and greater profits. So now we have to ask ourselves what that dream team can look like and ensure that we're not just checking off quota boxes. Currently, some industries are doing better than others, as we see from Diversity's Inc. annual top 50. However, one that is still struggling, albeit they're driving to be better, is Apple's tech industry. At the end of 2014, the Rainbow Coalition began to publicly call them out on it. Tech companies have been working at improving their efforts, but still have a ways to go, just as many other companies do. Look, for true diversity and inclusion practices to succeed, buy-in must start from the top down. We should not limit diversity and inclusion to just race, gender, religion, and sexual preference. For doing so only limits our possibilities and does not create a truly diverse environment. We must ensure that diversity of culture and language are included. This is also not limited to large companies. This can be applied to smaller ones as well. Studies and basic logic show that greater cultural and ethnic diversity create greater outcomes, period. Now, basic logic shows that if we have multiple ways of thinking, ideas will better flourish. Competition and brainstorming have provided the world with some of the most advanced technology and some of its greatest success stories, more than we could have ever imagined. True diversity allows a company to innovate better than its competitors and increase its revenue, market share, and stock value. All are true benefits of truly diverse companies, but as with everything and anything, setting the tone comes from leadership. Okay? Well, that's it for me. This has been another edition of The Intentional Leader. Now, to find out more about me and what I do, please visit my website at www.chadbumgarner.co. You can also hit me on Twitter, as well as check out the video versions of these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you for tuning into OurVoice 360. And remember, great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? Hi, are you tired of high turnover rates, constant confusion on the team, or maybe even low or mediocre productivity from your team? Well, the CDB Consulting Group has the experience and the business acumen to correct those issues and take you and your team to the next level. So contact us today. Go to www.chadbumgarner.co or call us at 678-571-2773. And remember, great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to OurVoice 360. It's your man, Michael Brown. Today, I'll be speaking on the Poor People's Campaign. The Poor People's Campaign was the brainchild of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and SCLC, which was then led by Ralph Abernathy after King was slain in April. On June 19, 1968, campaign leadership declared the day Solidarity Day as a final rallying cry for protesters who gathered in Resurrection City on the grounds of the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The campaign and the city began establishing itself in May that year, which had the ultimate goal of calling attention to economic imbalance present in the nation. With the civil rights movement shifting in tone and many landmark rulings achieved, King felt the next necessary step was economic justice. On the morning of June 19, 1968, between 50,000 to 100,000 people, including whites, rallied and marched together to hear speeches from King's widow, Coretta Scott King, and Abernathy, along with white politicians who hear the demands of the people. However, getting elected officials on board with the movement proved difficult, as it was an election year and many did not wish to squander their chances to win votes. The following day, police arrived at the encampments and began firing tear gas into the tents. there had been growing concern of the gathering from residents and authorities and unconfirmed reports of violence, of strife in and outside of the makeshift city. By June 24th, in the wake of the expiring park permit to gather, the city was vacated and residents returned home. A proposed economic bill of rights was never passed, but Abernathy continued to call attention to the needs of the poor and stage a Resurrection City 2 encampment in Miami, Florida during the 1972 Democratic National Convention. Once again, people, know yourself, know your worth. This is M. Brown, Our Voice 360. Thank you for listening. Whether you go from state to state, coast to coast, there is no job too big, no project too small for Elect Graphics and Photography. If it's important to you, then it's important to us. Allow Elect Graphics and Photography to take care of all your graphic design, audio, and video needs. You can reach us at 828-855-3057. Thank you.
What's good, family? And welcome to the Sports Chronicles. I am your host, Pete Hunt. I thought it was about disrespecting the anthem. I thought it was about disrespecting the flag. I thought it was about disrespecting the troops. A few weeks ago, the NFL released a new rule regarding the national anthem, and it states, if any player is on the field during the playing of the national anthem, they must stand, or the players have the option to stay in the locker room. During a press conference after a Dallas Cowboys practice, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, one of the loudest voices against black players protesting police brutality and racial injustice during the playing of the national anthem, said that his players will stand and toe the line during the national anthem. In an ironic twist, a video surfaced of Jerry Jones wearing a hat during the playing of the national anthem at a Cowboys practice. Even after his son Steven told Jerry to take off his hat, Jerry kept his hat on. Isn't that disrespecting the flag? So the loudest voice against black players peacefully protesting police brutality and racial injustice doesn't respect the flag himself. I call that hypocrisy. This issue has never been about disrespecting the flag, anthem, or the troops. This has been about silencing these black players' voices and their right to peaceful protest. And oh yeah, the NFL's bottom line. Because I can guarantee if the players were taking a knee for how the government treats its veterans or some cause other than how black people are being treated by police or racial injustice, there would not be an issue. Jerry's disrespectful display is a very bad look, not only for the Dallas Cowboys, but the entire NFL, because it only proves this is about controlling players and not disrespect of a song and a piece of cloth. Thank you for listening to the Sports Chronicles, exclusively on Our Voice 360.
You're listening to the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives from our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go.
You're listening to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. I'm Pinterest, and we'll jump right into our We Do It Big segment highlighting Black excellence worldwide. The first ever Black woman-owned real estate agency launches online and on-site real estate courses. Apex Real Estate Academy, which is a Black-owned real estate academy, is launching the on-site classroom component of its online real estate license courses. By innovative design, Apex offers an array of courses for pre- and post-licensing, as well as continuing education. Lanessa Pettigrew is the founder of Apex Real Estate Academy. Conference positions aspiring Black authors to ink their next bestseller. Out of Atlanta, Georgia, whether you're an aspiring author with only a creative idea for a book, or if you have 20 plus books published and you're ready to take it to the next level, the Red Ink Conference, the premier conference for authors and editors, is for you. This one-of-a-kind conference empowers attendees to write, edit, and market their next bestseller at a fraction of the cost, and it all takes place in Atlanta in mid-September. A 6-year-old author has reached a major milestone of over 10,000 copies sold. Kennedy O'Neill has garnered national attention with her debut book. She's recently appeared on Good Morning America. The Adventures of Super Kennedy, Saving and Investing have surpassed more than 10,000 copies. Kennedy and her dad, Chris O'Neill, released the book in mid-March to a positive reception both locally and nationally. Meet the Black entrepreneur who left a six-figure career to start a mobile notary service. Yvonne Seidel is the founder of Mobile Certification Services, LLC. The mobile notaries are commonplace in Bay Area, ready to notarize a variety of documents anytime, anywhere. That's why colleagues of Yvonne Seidel were skeptical when she decided to trade in her six-figure salary career in FDA regulatory affairs and start her own mobile business, Mobile Certification Services, LLC. She explains that she finds great enjoyment interacting with people to solve a documentation concern. She also stated with her mobile business, she can schedule special times with people or companies who must prioritize work or family obligations. The Detroit Black Doll Show is the largest of its kind in the Midwest, and it will be held in November. This year's show will include one of Marvel Studios' Black Panther cast members and provide a full day of fun and empowerment for the entire family. Sandy's Land LLC is an entertainment service where the mission is to party with a purpose, and it will be celebrating its 7th Detroit Doll Show with a unique program geared toward the entire family on Saturday, November 10th at the Doubletree by Hilton in Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Doll Show will include doll artists from around the globe, figurines, action figures, a game room, face painting, doll lookalike contests, hands-on workshops, arts and crafts, door prizes, a panel discussion, and it features local celebrities as well. Gigi is the 9-year-old founder of all natural kids hair care brand Natural Bunch Kids. She challenges parents across the nation to partake in a 90-day healthy hair challenge to unveil their child's healthiest and strongest hair ever. It's the new challenge in town. The challenge is to promote healthy hair for children while offering amazing prizes and healthy hair secrets. Gigi, the founder and co-founder of the brand Natural Bunch Kids, aims to help parents discover their products that thicken healthy hair for children struggling with damaged hair, hair loss, and naturally short or thin hair. And when used properly and consistently, the Natural Bunch Kids products will give children their most beautiful, healthy head full of natural curls ever. Now into our scoop of Black history. This week in Black history, starting off with July 30th. In 2002, the WNBA's longtime star player Lisa Leslie made history when she became the first woman to dunk in a professional basketball game. Leslie also made history by becoming the first WNBA player to win the regular season MVP, the All-Star Game MVP, and the playoff MVP in the same season. On July 31st, 1921, civil rights activist Whitney M. Young Jr. was born in Lincoln Ridge, Kentucky. Young is best known for his work in expanding the reach of the National Urban League and raising unprecedented sums of money in support of civil rights efforts. After earning a master's degree in social work from the University of Minnesota, Young began volunteering and accepting leadership positions within the NOLA and the NAACP. The 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta were a good year for American wins on home soil. On August 1st, 1996, sprinter Michael Johnson broke a world record in the 200 meters and won a gold medal for the U.S. This came just 4 years after he came down with food poisoning and was unable to pass the qualifying rounds of the 200-meter race in the Barcelona Olympics. On August 2nd, 2012, Gabrielle Douglas won an Olympic gold medal in women's gymnastics. At age 16, she captured the attention of the entire world by becoming the first African-American athlete to win the Olympic gold medal in the artistic gymnastics women's individual all-around final, winning that award at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. She also won gold medals in both the individual and team all-around competitions at the Olympics. She was the first American gymnast to win both medals in both the individual all-around and team competitions at the same Olympics, as well as being the only American all-around champion to win multiple gold medals. On August 3rd, 1971, the Salt and Pepper Group member DJ Spinderella was born as Deidre Muriel Roper. Spinderella produced songs on the group's 5 studio albums, and they sold over 15 million albums and singles worldwide, earning platinum and gold on several songs. The trio went on to become the most successful selling female hip-hop act in the 90s until they disbanded in 2002. That wraps up the week of Black History and our We Do It Big segment, as always, credited to my sources, blacknews.com and BET.com. Keep on listening to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. I'm Fentress. I'll see you guys next week. The FPC channel, hosted by yours truly, Fentress Chestnut Fountain, can be seen on any streaming device on your televisions. You can even watch from your phones on any social media platform. News, weather, and entertainment featuring some of today's biggest celebrity interviews. You don't want to miss out. You could also have your own TV show produced by Fentress Productions and Communications LLC to expand your brand or business and get your content seen. Call 828-261-6122 or visit thefpcchannel.com for more information.
Hey, it's me, Ivan Hunt. I'm the host of the talk radio show called Keep It Moving. And what is Keep It Moving all about? Keep It Moving is all about inspiring and motivating, encouraging, and empower people to take ownership over their life, but also to take control over their life so they can live a life full of purpose, passion, and meaning. So this is what I call the post-show wrap-up. And, my guest earlier, if you didn't miss, if you missed the first part of the show, I'll have the link in the, in the bottom. But this is Kyle Elliott, otherwise known, AKA Caffeinated Cow. I love that name. I just love saying Caffeinated Cow. It just reminds me of Charlie Murphy. Cal, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, real quick, for those who didn't see the first part of the show.
Yeah, so I'm a career coach. So everything I do is centered on helping people find jobs they love or at least tolerate. So it's resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn. Everything I do is really just to help people find jobs they love. So some people are just out of college or even in college, and I'm helping them find jobs they love. Other people, they're executives, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 executives, and I'm helping them navigate their careers. So wherever people are in their careers and in their lives, I'm helping them navigate that. So a lot of the people I work with are high performing. Everyone assumes when you reach out to a career coach, you're unemployed, but a lot of the people I work with are employed and they're just looking to take their career to the next level. So I come in and ask them the difficult questions in order to really navigate their career and navigate their life.
And what causes people to reach out to you? So if they're high performers, so you said you work with a lot of high performers and executives, why would they reach out to you?
Yeah, I think they just get to a point where they don't know where to go next. They're like, okay, I feel like I've tried everything I can. I've used all my resources. I've used everything I know what to do, and now I'm stuck. So I ask them those difficult questions. Okay, what are you afraid to ask yourself? What questions are you afraid for me to ask you? And going from there, really asking those challenging questions and exploring what's going on in their minds. And I think that has really helped people open up and explore areas they haven't tried before. And a lot of people reach out to me because they're at this transition in their life. They're like, okay, I don't know if I want to start my own business. Or I've had my own business for 10 years and now I want to go work for someone else. How do I market or brand myself? Right. So it's really exciting to work with people who are in those transitions and they don't know what to do. And they're also high performing. So they come to me and they're like, Kyle, I'm used to making the decisions. I'm not used to someone questioning me why all the time. So it's exciting to really work with them and navigate that. And they reach out to me because they're stuck and they're looking to get unstuck. So I ask the questions to get them unstuck.
And what do you usually find they come to you, you ask us those tough questions. These are people who really aren't used to people questioning them, much less having to answer why. What kind of revelations do they really have throughout this process of them, changing careers or changing positions?
Yeah, a lot of people realize they're really tied to their career and a lot of their worth is tied to their career. So that's difficult for them when they realize they're switching careers. It's not just their career, but it's their life. So that a lot of their worth is tied to that. They also realize, okay, this is my mortgage. This is my kids' college tuition, all of that. So it's difficult for them. And then they also realize that change is not easy. So it's not just their career, but it's all their friends at work. It's everything outside of work is often tied to their career. So since they're spending so many of their waking hours at work, and then also when they're they're not at work, they're constantly thinking about work. So I think that's one of the most challenging things people face, is all that change, and it's stressful and anxiety inducing. And then it's exciting, but that excitement is also anxiety producing. So I help them navigate that and be like, okay, how do we deal with this change and really embrace the positive aspects, but also deal with any of those negative aspects that are stressful as well.
And how do they get, because I've been in corporate too. And one of the things I used to say, one of the things I noticed about a lot of senior level executives or C-suite individuals was, their title, they were the title, right? Versus, the title made them, versus them making the title. And that was one of the things I always said, that, I will not allow to happen to me, that, I will not be defined by my title, but the power that comes with it. It's intoxicating, and it's really hard before you know it not to be the title in which you hold. How do you help them to detach from that title?
Yeah, I think my favorite question is why, asking them why are they so attached to that title. And then once they give that answer, okay, asking why again and again and again. And people end up realizing it's often rooted in something deeper. It's confidence issues, or it's something in childhood, or it's wanting to prove something and figuring that out. And then for other people, it's just wanting to give back, to help people, or figuring that out. So some people really turn to their career in order to boost their confidence. Other people turn to their career in order to help people. So recognizing the reason behind it and addressing those reasons, rather than just saying, okay, I want a title to want a title, but I want a title and here's why, and making sure that we go to that really root of the why as we explore their career, has really been helpful. And I think that helps people understand that. And then I always bring that back up anytime we explore questions, saying, okay, you say everything you're doing is because of your family, and that's why you want the title. Okay, well, we're making this other career decision where you want to start a business. You're not going to have the big title. Is that still okay with you? And they're like, well, I want a title. I was like, well, you said you really want to spend more time with your family. So do you want a title or do you want your family? And they realize the title wasn't about the title, it was about their family. So I love getting to that why and using that to inform our decision making.
And my wife and I had this discussion last night. Last night was our date night. And we were talking about, my transitioning from corporate to being a transformational coach. And, the financial shift that I've had to take. I left, a six-figure position to start over as an entrepreneur. And it's a shocking transition sometimes. And so we really started looking at, she pointed out to me that, okay, maybe you're not making what you were, but look at all the things that you have gained that you really can't put a monetary value on. The time, our date nights, my relationship with my kids have improved greatly. The first 4 years of my daughter's life, I went to 2 of her doctor's appointments. And, so for the last 15 months, I've been able to actually go and participate and be in their school and take her to school and pick her up, take her to gymnastics, stuff like that. How then do you present that aspect of it to your clients?
I often ask people what they want people to say about them at their funeral. And it's a little morbid, but when you get to the root of that, that really figures out what motivates people. So for me, something that's really important about me is family. So I hope at my funeral, people talk about how as a family person. So when I make decisions, it's about my family. I actually have a post-it up on my bulletin board that talks about family. I'm also really big about free time. So I love traveling and all that. And then my third value is money, because money allows me more free time and allows me to spend time with my family. So I ask people that question really early on. What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And by asking that, we really get to the root of kind of that legacy people want to leave, but also how they want to move through life. And then I always bring that up during every coaching session. Okay, you say your values are, for me, family, free time, money. Okay, you're making this decision. How does that align with your values? And making sure our daily tasks, our yearly goals, our 3 to 5 year plan, and our life goals all align with those initial values. And then if they're not, maybe either 1, changing our daily tasks, or 2, seeing, are those really our values? Or they're just those values that we think we're supposed to have, and maybe we need to shift what our values are and actually reassess them and say, maybe these aren't my values, but they're just what I thought my values should be, and reassess and say, actually, these are my true values.
And I'm glad you brought that back up, because, I told her, I said I was very impressed, because when I asked you during the show, the live show, what was important to you, and you instantly knew what your top 3 values were. And very few people can really, tell you, right, without hesitation, without thinking, okay, here's the three things that's most important to me: family, fun, and money. And the reason why money, because in order for me to enjoy these other things, I have to have that income in order to do it, to have that freedom.
Yeah.
And it really got me thinking a lot, because I focus a lot on values, in my coaching. And I had to kind of stop and say, okay, Ivan, what really are your top 3 values?
Yeah.
I can give you my 10 values, that are things that are really important to me, but what are my top 3? So you kind of even inspired me to dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, what are the 3 things that's really important to me? And mine came up to be family, service, and then, finances. And in order to be able to do certain things, you got to have that financial support, et cetera, et cetera. What's the most enjoyable aspect of what you do?
I love the fact, and I work with a lot of people one-on-one, so that's fun. I also do workshops and speaking engagements, but I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I post a lot, and I think what's fun is every day I probably get a dozen or so messages from people I've never talked to one-on-one. They're following me, or they're just a connection of a connection, and they say, hey, Kyle, I got a new job as a result of following your advice. And I've never talked to them one-on-one, but the advice I provide or the suggestions I've given or an article I wrote impacted them, and they followed that, and I was able to change their life. So everything I do comes back to me wanting to help people. That's why I do the work I do, and specifically around jobs, because our job is what we do most. We spend most of our time working. So it's exciting when people I've never interacted with, I'm able to impact their life. So I think that's the most exciting part, is knowing that I'm impacting people's lives. And those are just the people that reach out to me. So I think, okay, maybe I impacted someone's life even in a small way and they never told me. And I think that's exciting, knowing I'm able to have that impact on people who I never talked to one-on-one. Because a lot of people are reading what I'm saying, and a lot of people are viewing it. So it's exciting knowing I'm able to impact all these people.
How did you go about? Because you have a huge following on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think it was just delivering value and content and breaking some rules. I think there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who say they're LinkedIn experts or gurus or whatnot. And there's these rules where, okay, you post twice a week or 3 times a week, or you have to do this or that. And I just tried different things. I'm like, let me try posting this or that, or let me try anything comes up on my mind. So I don't have a content calendar. I don't have any specific, like, here's what I'm going to post. When I have a thought that comes in my mind, I just post it, and people like that. So I was with my parents, and I was like, let me do a video with my parents. I'm at Starbucks, and I heard some people interacting. Let me post it on LinkedIn. So I just post these things, and I think people can resonate with that. Right. And really appreciate that honest advice, because I think I'm giving advice people need to hear, compared to, okay, here's this personal branding advice that doesn't really have any impact. I'm actually saying, here's what you need to do to get a job. Here's what you need to do to enjoy life. And it's relatable compared to kind of abstract without application. But I'm saying, no, here's tangible steps you can take to get a job and live a life you love.
Good. So we kind of touched on this a little bit on the first show. About where you see yourself in a few years from now.
Yeah.
I want to spin that scenario a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody's just got a position, right? It was something that they really wanted. They're there in that position 6 months, 12 months. All of a sudden, they realize, okay, wait a minute, I've made a mistake. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I did my due diligence. What do I do now? I'm stuck. What happened?
Yeah. That happened to me. So I worked at Navos in Seattle. It was the best job I've ever had by far. I think it competes equally with running caffeinatacala.com. If they were in San Francisco in the Bay Area, I would stop doing caffeinatacala.com and go back to Navos. They're a mental health nonprofit. They're deeply committed to social justice. Amazing work. But I left them in order to come back to California and work for this organization, the Silicon Valley, that was raising money for health. And my job was to manage all events for this foundation and raise money. So it seemed like the ideal job. Every year they were raising more and more money. They helped all these people. I networked. I reached out to a bunch of people. Everyone said it was a great org. I had my interviews, and then I moved from Seattle to California for this job. So it wasn't just like a little step. It was a big job, big raise, a lot more responsibility. I got there, week 1, I knew it was the absolute worst job. not meant for me. The CEO, I left the office for 10 minutes to get coffee, and he was like, where were you? Your calendar needs to be updated minute by minute what you're doing. I also looked into their database of fundraising, and all the numbers they had given me during my interview about how much they had raised were all lies. And not like rounding errors, but like by hundreds of thousands of dollars. The number of people they say they helped, they said it was like 40,000, it was actually 10,000. So like a lot of stuff that was really off and didn't sit with me morally. So week one, I started looking for a new job. So I would encourage people that the whole rule that you have to stay at a job for a year or two is arbitrary. There's plenty of reasons to leave a job, and recognize that you have to look out for you. An employer can get rid of you at any time if you're at will.
Right.
And you have to look out for yourself and say, if it's time for me to leave, I have to look out for myself.
Right.
If you look at any recruiter's LinkedIn profile, like 80 to 90% of them, their average stint is 3 or 6 or 9 months. So they're not going to be looking at you and saying, oh, you've only been here for a few months. They've been in the same boat, and they're going to ask you a question, say you were only there for 3 months. And you can say, you know what? Here's why, and explain it without bashing the company, but you can explain it. So I encourage people to just look out for themselves, because I've had to do that before. Thankfully, it only happened once, but I've had to do it before.
Hopefully you can answer this question for me too. What is career suicide as far as when you stay with a company? Because I've heard, if you stay longer than 5 years, and especially as you close in closer to that 10-year mark, you pretty much have committed career suicide. What does that mean to you?
I've heard people talk about career suicide when someone's at a company for a long time. People are worried about growth. I recently worked with a candidate that was at a company for 17 years, and then they were recruited to Facebook. So what we did is we focused on, here's what I've done and progressed over the last 17 years, the different positions that I've held, the achievements and the accomplishments. So I encourage people, if they have been somewhere for a while, to show how they've progressed and grown and focus on the results. And even if someone's only been somewhere for a year, focus on those results. But the initial instinct people are going to have if you've been somewhere for 17 years is the why. Why were you there for 17 years? Why didn't you go somewhere else? So just have a story ready. I think it goes back to the why. Anytime someone looks at your resume, your LinkedIn, at you and your story, they want to know the why. Okay, why were you there 17 years? Why were you only there 17 months? And just have the whys ready and be able to communicate that story.
Okay. We're about to wrap it up, because I think we're, because the whole gist of this is not to keep it an hour long, but rather, fairly short and brief. And I know you got other things to do, and I want to say thank you again for being on the show. What would you like for the listening audience to know about you, and how can they contact you?
Yeah, I would love for them to connect with me on LinkedIn or follow me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of advice on there. I think oftentimes people are a little overwhelmed by the advice. They're like, I feel like I should be paying for all the status updates or stuff. A lot of people can't afford my one-on-one coaching services, so they just follow me on LinkedIn. They're like, literally just from watching your statuses or reading your articles, I've been able to get a job. So I encourage people to just do that and recognize there's a lot of resources out there and not get overwhelmed. So just stick to a few and spend an hour a day job searching. Don't turn it into a full-time job. It can get overwhelming. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed. So set a timer, 60 minutes a day or 2 hours a day. Have that job search and just go from there. So I encourage people to follow me on LinkedIn, and then caffeinatedcow.com. They can check me out on there.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
No, my pleasure, Kyle. And again, I love the name Caffeinated Cow. I saw it, I was like, that's it. I've got to get this guy on the show. And for those that of you who are watching, hey, look, I apologize about my lighting situation. I usually record my videos in a different location in my home, but my daughter was coming, and I knew that she was going to run right in the smack dab in the middle of the interview, and there was no way. And this was the best I could do, so thank you for working with me. And that's what it is. It's all about being real and authentic, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, again, Kyle, thank you. And hey, if you want to learn more about me, you can find me at ivanhunt.com, or you can email me at coach@ivanhunt.com. You can probably find me more on LinkedIn as well, because that's how I met Kyle. And you can find me there on LinkedIn as Ivan Hunt. With that being said, hey, keep it moving, baby. Peace.
Well, folks, that's it for this week. I'm your host, Chad Bumgarner. I want to give a shout out to my OurVoice 360 team, Mike Brown, Pete Hunt, Fentress Fountain, and Ivan Hunt. As always, thanks for tuning in to OurVoice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.